And I perked up, and I go, well, what do you know about it? And she said, well, my aunt is a witch, and she goes to this church of witchcraft in Port Angeles, and described the church to me, and I was fascinated because I'm going, wow, this isn't just something that happened in the medieval times, and this is actually something that people can practice and can get into. So I never really told people, hey, here's the experiences that I'm having. I wanted to keep that hush-hush, but I always kept my ears perked and tried to jump into conversations when they came up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, I mean, here you are, 12 years old, didn't really know what you were getting into, and then this spirit follows you. Did it feel good, or was it malevolent, or benevolent, or how did it feel?
Well, it felt actually pretty creepy. I mean, if you go to a grocery store, you can kind of feel that, that guy who's kind of lurking around. You can kind of feel his aura. Everybody, I mean, I don't care if you've got no psychic abilities at all. People can instinctively feel that kind of creepy nature that surrounds certain people, and that spirit definitely had that, and that really made me uncomfortable because it was always watching me. It could see me, but I couldn't see it. I could feel it. I knew it was watching me, but it seemed to have this unfair advantage over the situation, and it did have that creepy aura to it.
Well, and so how did you handle that, though? What did you do? I'm assuming he's not still with you.
Well, I don't... After a while, his presence kind of faded as I started getting more and more into my studies, and then kind of into... not necessarily practices, because I didn't actually start practicing until I was about 16, but I started kind of, I guess you could say, communing with the spirits. And I remember one time when I was in Las Vegas, I moved to Las Vegas with my father after Washington, and I remember I remember walking through a desert area, and I could always feel, if it was nighttime, I could always feel something dark behind me. If you're walking, you kind of feel that there's something behind you, and you turn and there's nothing there at all. And I would feel that constantly, and I wasn't sure if it was that same spirit or something else. And so one night I kind of just had enough, and so I just stopped. I didn't look behind me, and I basically just said, look, whoever you are, whatever you are, do whatever it is you're going to do. And that's fine. If you're here to, hurt me, destroy me, whatever, just get it over with already. And I actually felt that kind of rush through me. I felt the spirit kind of, or whatever it was, that dark power just kind of run through me, and I felt extremely alive in that moment. Just extremely powerful, where that fear was just completely dissipated, and I realized that through direct confrontation with these spirits, that often you can resolve the confrontation itself. And from that moment on, I really hadn't had any, I guess, molesting spirits that are around me like that. And if there are, I'm able to confront them directly and just be done with it.
That is so true, but quite a feat for you. I mean, as such a young child, a teenager, going through that and just, mustering up the courage to confront it yourself. So, I mean, I guess at that point you had that concrete proof of something out there, spirituality, that you were looking for, I guess, in the religions, right?
Right, yeah. I did experiments with it all. I remember, we'd read the Bible and Book of Mormon and all the scriptures every night before we go to bed. And when I was growing up, and I'd read about these prophets calling fire down from the heavens and having these visions of the throne of God. And I always thought, I want that. How can I have that? I was never really able just to look at it and go, oh, well, that's a nice story. I would really look at it as far as what methods were these prophets using? How can I duplicate that? How can I have this power myself? And that was really a search for me. And I would kind of play with that within the Christian paradigm, where I would pray for visitations of angels and visions and whatnot. I never really never really seemed to have any success until I started tapping into these metaphysics and getting into these spirits and learning the art of evocation and learning how to have these visionary experiences. And then a whole new world just opened up.
Wonderful. Well, I can't wait to hear about that, EA, but it is that time. We are going to take a short break, but we will be right back. EA Koetting, EternalAscentPublications.com. Stay tuned. Truth Brigade Radio. All right, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight. Truth Brigade on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Our special guest tonight, EA Koetting, Practical Spirituality and Black Magick. He has authored 6 books, working on his 7th right now. You can find at EternalAscentPublications.com. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call, 402-237-2525. That's 402-AFR-2525. EA, I thank you so much for sharing your childhood with us and kind of what got you on this path, because, I mean, really in the last, I guess you say you've been studying it 15 years, 7 books, and all the teaching you do, you've obviously learned quite a bit. So that was pretty much the point where you realized that you could exert at least some control or manipulate or influence, I think is a better word, that you could influence the energies around you.
Yeah, that was the first time that I really knew that it went beyond communication and really went to interaction, and that was kind of the next step as well. You know, you can interact with these spirits and achieve. At the time, and for me, it was just an emotional result. I was afraid, and I didn't want to be afraid anymore, and so I confronted this thing that, most people are, well, that's just, silly, superstitious fear, whatever. Well, whatever it was, I confronted it as if it were an entity, and then I saw an immediate response in myself that was actually endured, because I didn't really have that experience anymore, and didn't really feel haunted or molested by these entities anymore.
Okay, so you basically took the bull by the horns and started communicating with them. What was your next step in learning to kind of tap into these? You started learning meditation and how to communicate with the entities or energies. When did you first come across that? I mean, did you read it in a book? Did you do it accidentally? How did that come about?
Well, it's actually kind of funny because what I really wanted is I'd always wanted this vision. I'd always wanted to have these conscious encounters with the spiritual, but the catalyst to getting there was sitting in school, sitting in high school, and meeting this girl that I really wanted, and she had no interest in me. So I'm going, well, if there was only a way I could just whip up a little spell. And so I actually just went on the internet. This is when the internet was kind of a new thing and whatever. And so went on there and found a website that had witchcraft and had spells and whatnot. And it was really cool because I'm going, well, this is connecting the medieval witchcraft that I'd been reading about to modern application. And so I started looking up love spells and all kinds of different spells. And the funny thing is I got so lost in the research that I completely forgot about this girl. She was the last thing on my mind because I'm starting to awaken to this whole different world of spiritual possibility, and so that was really the final catalyst that got this into practical application in my life, where I really started going, now this isn't just something you can interact with spirits, but you can actually you can kind of do a threefold loop there, where you interact with the spirits, and then they in turn will interact in your life, and not just spirits with intelligences and spiritual embodiments, but even just with the energy of the planet and the energy of the universe and other realms that might exist out there.
Okay, now many people get into what we call magic, and I guess, there's another word that everyone has a different definition for, but I guess magic in general for different reasons. And, we see a lot, people seek to have power over others, or people do it because they really think they're doing the right thing, or, you always have the meddler that wants to help you without your, consent and, for your own good and such. What were your reasons for getting into or learning the magical arts?
Well, honestly, when you really get down to it, a good deal of it would have been a severe case of curiosity and of the need to verify what I already knew to be true. And I already knew that there were multiple layers of spiritual reality. I already knew from a young age that I could interact with them. And so I was really looking for a validation and a verification of that. And so that was really always my prime motive, and so I would fling spells around, and that was really fun thing to do when I first started learning this. Is I can make girls like me, I can get better grades than I deserve in school.
So they worked, you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, it was really a lot of fun. But it was I saw it all as a game where I'm going, okay, how far can I really push the envelope here? If I can do a ritual to make this girl come talk to me, which, I was influencing people and influencing events in a massive way in my life, and seeing a massive return left and right. And so what I really wanted to do is just see how far can I possibly push this. If I can do this small thing, maybe there's something a little bigger and a little bigger. And each successive step along that path got me into deeper and deeper levels of the entire occult world.
Now, okay, let me ask you this, though, about, like, say, love spells and such. There is such a thing known as magical meddling, or the law of rebound, which basically states that if you direct a force, any force, even love, toward another human being that's not accepted or absorbed, that the force boomerangs back to you 3 times its original power.
Yeah, I'm really not sure where that came from. I know that you've got a lot of people who follow the works of Gerald Gardner, who they'll trace their Wiccan or neo-pagan roots back to Gardner, and he was actually a student of Aleister Crowley, who was once named the most wicked man in the world. So you kind of look at that simple genealogy there, and that really holds no real reality. Where that comes from really is the Indian yogic schools, where they have this idea of karma, and that is completely misunderstood in the Western world. Where people think that if you do something, there's some karmic judge, or the forces of nature are going to balance the scales, and that's not how karma works at all. Because in the grand spiritual scheme of things, there are no scales. The impressions of good and evil and right and wrong are purely human inventions. They have nothing to do with with any reality outside of our society. So the idea of karma is basically that you will create your own situations to bring you ill or benefit in your life, and that if you're not living up to your own standards of morality and ethics, and if you're not following your own dharma, which is your destiny, then you're going to start invoking upon yourself ways to kind of get you back on track. And it's kind of a complicated idea in Hinduism, but it's completely been misunderstood in the Western world as being some kind of karmic retribution. That's not at all what I myself have never ever seen anything like that. And if anybody should be punished by some karmic judge, I think that might be myself, and I haven't seen any evidence of that at all.
So you're saying you haven't no backlash or any negative experiences due to exerting or manipulating any type of energy towards another?
No, not. You have natural consequences, and so one example I use a lot is if people use a love spell, a love charm on a person, and this man or woman comes and falls deeply in love with you. And then you're kind of done with it. You've had your fun. You moved on, and they haven't because they're still under the effects of the spell.